Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. We added a bunch of stuff to this. Now, I think I was initially just doing this, and I've since added some stuff around the edge trying to prototype out duo connections, which I still have to rotate this whole thing. But we're missing some arcs here for sure. And then for Dionysus, there's actually elliptical arcs, so that's going to be fun. Needs to be circle. Oh, interesting. It has the properties of a circle. Okay. Location and center. And then arc is going to be start and end angle? But I might have to do some data structure work first, because I just don't have a way to encode an arc. Well, this might exist at 2 levels. I might be able to do some stuff at the base DXF parser. Well, there's the... Because that's that kind of line. Entity type line. Yeah, there's no arc here. Because we didn't have an example of that before, that's why. Well, that's just a 0. Shoot. PQR. And let's see. Oh. Oh no, I have to. That's the pars. This must be in DXF? Right. So entity types. Okay, so that makes that parsable. That would actually let us do that entity type as a group, which you may have to do some thinking about that. And then for the decoder? Yeah, actually we had 40 for float values. Oh, angles. There's a 50. And I think it probably did a range. $50 to 58 is an angle. And then this is link and another arc. Okay, so what do we have for... I don't know the decode test is going to be anything different. compound values with tag point. Yeah, I don't think there's anything drastically different on this end. The issue now is this has connections, which is just a and a B. So the arcs we're getting are center, radius, two angles, from which it would be probably possible to calculate the two endpoints. Let's see. What I was doing for arcs so far has been turning them into splines, using an algorithm that is restricted to arcs less than 90 degrees. Which should work for some of these and not for all of them. Like, it'll work for these. I don't know if it'll work for some of this stuff. Unless we like the logic to go through and say, oh, that's too many degrees. We're gonna divide you up. So I want to keep AB because it's still going to be a connection from point A to point B. I don't know if I really use that information for anything other than drawing. If I were to specialize it so that it's like line AB, arc AB, center. And we could process it to fit that mold. If we processed it to an actual arc, we would be doing, what, point, radius, angle? Which is sort of not actually the format we're going to use to draw it with currently. Actually, was it a center or was it just a radius? So you've got, okay, arc to point, line AB. And point was even a little bit of an anachronism, I think. I forgot what you were about. Oh, maybe you're one of the, I might have some intersecting lines. I think this whole section needs to move down. So does this thing kind of move to layout? Well, the icon point is a little bit specialized to things I'm doing with duo arcs. I guess layouts are going to have to be talking about any kind of about any kind of shape that we're going to draw. Although there, you could have a translation there. Putting it into these terms would simply require doing the geometry stuff at the decoder layer. Other than this place, which is kind of doing all the geometry. All right, so we can either move this into layout, which will have the corresponding requirement that we do all the geometry in layout decoding, or right now we're importing everything. They both have to have a very similar definition of arc versus straight line. I know at one point I had the XML input format too, so I don't know, like, would anything that I'm going to import kind of be in that same format? Because you could go closer to your input format for the layout side. But what if you end up importing something else? And it's a different format. Well, okay, so I guess the point center thing does have that 90-degree constraint. And since that is kind of a display restriction, we shouldn't really be pushing the need to divide that back down to our input layer. And the information we have currently available is center radius angles. So, well, we've got connector, connection. We might end up with some silly differentiation there, because they're both going to be talking about lines, they're really talking about arcs. So connection. Well, these are going to be common properties. I never set up a point here, did I? First, that slightly hides what's going on. And I guess to dodge the arc name would, well, we forgot line names, so that's already going to be collision. And that's very not instructive about what it is. But I'd have to have that type be a record. In order to have it named. Or I actually have like list of lines, list of arcs. That would actually be a little bit easier on the parsing or the decoding side. Because I actually might need to add some decoding operators to include two different types of things. Now line, I guess, AB, there's not really a whole lot that can be said about this. These are more differentiated, but then you have like one that's just a record and one that is, or one that's just the custom type and one that's just that is a record, so it's a little bit more different. Of course, now we've got angle A, angle B. And we also use shape here. All right, that is going to break. Oh, let me break it into tests. Break all things. Let's DXF decode. I need layout decode. Which gets way the heck complicated. It says it's just a decoder, so it just is. This is an and. Well, no, we're going to have the way we're currently set up. I actually need to do something with two things here, but this is going to be lines. And a line. Technically, it's a detection of encoder type. We're only doing this in things that are lines. So we don't have so much have this. We have specialized things for each group, each one. So you could actually be a generic function. All right, so you have a point base 10, and what's the base level of this? Tag n, would it just be angle? No, you're not angle. You are just a float? So what happens to you? You are... You're a list, aren't you? So we're gonna have another connection there somewhere. We're going to do... Are you going to be a lambda of... Well, we don't want to call it lines. Lines and arcs. See, is there an operator that's just list another list? Put two lists together. I'm not sure this works. Right, because the map is still a decoder. You don't deal in decoders. And we never exposed you. Maybe you should like connection shape, but all right. So our DXF. No, that's not why we're parser, right? No, other DXF decoder. Oh, I did do specific things for you. We've only had occasion to do certain things so far. And I think I had to pull out a generic float too. Is that how we parsed it? Yeah, just a float value. All right, succeed line. DXF parser code pair result error type. Float to B. Am I forgetting how this worked? Or do I have is there a type difference between saying entities, blah, and connections? Well, it's inline 3839. So we're down a ways. It got past entities okay. Everything at this level has been a decoder so far. Doesn't seem like it should be that different. So a decoder is a list code pair to result. Now I guess maybe we have a problem up here. It's just a list connection though. It hasn't noticeably changed the type of anything. Okay, so it's nothing to do with that setup. And entities, line, connection used to be something that didn't involve this little subdecoder. Is approximately what we had there before. Line should be a positional decoder. Now is it bothered by, oh, maybe this is too low for width. No, these are, oh no, that's, but that stuff. No, we have width tag base, succeed tuple dot pair. This is entirely in the scope of what type of things we were doing before. I mean, I can make up a thing that made this record before passing it to... Well, we're not even getting the error on arc, though. It expects float to unknown. Line should be a thing that takes 2. Wait. Is this a different... Connection was a record. So actually we've got duplicate symbols, don't we? Yep. Oh, and there it is. Actually, didn't I... Wasn't I doing like entity on this before? Yeah, entities are becoming a real problem. Don't have a good solution for that one yet. Now, can you actually do type with a record in a constructor format? Delbagor! Hey. I've been really tired. I was trying out the soft configuration of the bed this week, so that's my leading suspect right now. Thanks for the sub. Okay, expects one argument, so in fact it does not work that way. I mean, that's literal syntax, it won't tell me anyway. So in order to use this style of decoder, I'm going to need a positional function. It could either be inline or it could be, we define a type. I don't know if I have a better way to say that. Arc params. Then we have to say this. Okay, now we're back to the parser. I'm not sure what's happening here. The decoder. So our arc thing has to do that. It's very slow moving, which is actually can be sort of comforting if you're wanting to put something out. It is still technically a zero version language, but it sounds like there's no like major shifts coming. There have been major shifts though, so in theory it's still on the table. Oh, we have to expose this now. Oh, did I get this wrong? I thought this meant take all this stuff and then do that. I don't think it... Does it actually any different if we do this? Archetype is a point, float, 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 float archetype. The point. Yeah, so this only works for single argument things, I guess. Does that help me at all? So we can do that, and it's just the wrong type. I guess I have to do like a map. Can I do that? Well, something's not happy. Now, this is a different file. Boon chart? Oh, we're probably trying to use the A and B out of other things. Yeah, A, B, group link shape. So, some of this layout stuff. SVG attribute. Yeah, you got some layout stuff. You're complaining at 183. You're pulling the A and B fields out of there, which is not a thing we can do anymore. In fact, we're just going to have to punt on the arcs for now, I think. Although, now that other, well, we have some code we have to put back now that we've got things. They got the decode module to compile, but this is going to be way more hairier. Let's see, since you're only using A and B, that means you only need the shape argument of this, I think. But then we have to do that of line AB. That. An arc of center radius, at a different angle, different A and B. And actually, this whole system needs to get redone too. And these are angles, not points. So in fact, we have no points here. No, we have center. Oh, arc center. So this is maybe not going to draw very well until we get down into some actual... Oh, I have another center. Yeah, I have that center. Which... I guess we'd call this origin. Need 0 arguments. So this is a different line. Yeah, that has shape line. Now it's not complaining about that. Layout exposing all. So maybe, do you define your own line? Ah, so I guess the local definition has precedence. First argument to arc is weird. Oh, these have to be exactly from angle and to angle. We can't go aliasing them here. All right, so that does that. Layout, decode DXF. We had taken this stuff out. List connection is the argument to be list A to C. I guess this thing just, this function doesn't work with anything that has arguments, or multiple arguments rather. That would be like, okay, you take everything and then do this, but it only works if you take one. Oh yeah, and then these got renamed. Okay. The effect of this is that we can handle the arcs, but they will display at best as a point. Yeah, probably not even anything visible. Or rather, we're using the center such they're going to be back here, basically. Now we actually have to do geometry. So center radius from angle to angle. Most of these are going to be small enough. I guess actually would be turning into multiples of these if it had to get broken up. It'd be a whole other animal. So technically, I need to do what? I need to do center. I need to, what are these angles from? So I've been working on everybody else. I haven't opened this one recently. So like one of these is a 15 to 75. That sounds to me like it's going from here. So if we wanted to create something, it would go here and rotate that. So you would take center. What geometry operations do we have? We have point, point, add, scale, interpolate. We can rotate a point about an angle. So we would do radius 0. And let's see, that would be before we scale it, I think. I'm going to add that to center. Do I do... Yeah, we have add operations for 2 points. Rotate from angle, radius 0. Yep, not all of it. To angle, radius 0. Nope. Okay, it doesn't like that. Oh, I think all my geometry stuff is prefixed. Okay. Still not super happy with that. Well, are we even getting any of these? Well, so there's the DX cephals who are still dumping. Shape line. Well, this will tell us if we're getting any. Okay, yes, we're getting a bunch of arcs. We're scaling to very small, so I guess small numbers is not unreasonable. Oh no, that's icon point is this thing. That's our center. Whole bunch of stuff at the same center point. That's believable. Oh, actually, interestingly enough, this ended up more or less at y equals 0. That was actually kind of accidental. Just how geometry worked out, I guess. So why aren't we seeing you? Okay, you don't seem to be somewhere else. Oh. I've lost my... Okay, I need to have Well, eventually we just limit how far we can zoom out. And hopefully you won't lose it then. And of course this is like super spammy right now. Can we do this as a line just so I can see if the points are close? What? Maybe my interpretation of angles is incorrect? Because that looks all wrong. I mean, there's the point in between here. That's sort of right. I don't think I seem to be connecting with these things. Now, I guess maybe our rotation could be in the opposite direction? That doesn't really line up any better. Let's see, can I... Since the drawing them as lines, I don't have a way to identify that these are a different thing. I can point end-to-end shape. We have name, icon, ID. Which are partly related to the duo boons that we're kind of putting out in the middle of arcs. If I'm putting that in the middle and drawing it in two pieces. Ah. Oh. So I'm already splitting these. Okay, so that explains part of the problem there. So I actually do need a different arc style for this. That would help with the wider angles, but that's not going to be correct for what we're importing. And the lines still look screwy as all heck, so I feel like we still have problems. But you need to be something else. All right, and you don't have to be stacked at all. Ooh. How does that break the entire drawing? What? Oh, I guess if we had some super wide arcs, it might throw it off a little bit. The angle was too big. Also, not really seeing anything like out here from these. I mean, maybe some of this stuff is stand-ins, but I think I saw that before. Okay, it's not just those. Just, I guess I don't know if we ever get like negative angles. When we have one of these, we need to get certain information. I guess this would be shape. I'm not sure this is useful right now. Oh. Underscore. All right. From angle to angle. 1575, 315, 15. So I don't know if we care about order. I mean, our code may have incidentally been producing a certain order before. But we have to look at what? I guess since they're angles, technically we might have to consider the wraparound effect. It's like 15 to 315 might not be that big. Uh, most of the time it's this. And this is going to be wrong. Maybe if you... No, not even if you abs it, I think. $50, $60, $60, a negative 300. That might be something. So would that be like a modulus 180? To get the smaller angle? I know Elm had two moduluses, and they vary in how they mod by when you run into negative numbers, mod by 4. Okay, so that washes it out. There's a negative 1 angle. A negative 1 angle difference is not going to be a 180 angle difference, I don't think. Well, it's a difference of angle. Yeah, it has to be a 1 no matter what. Or maybe we do this more like... Oh, this only works in integers. We don't have a floating point. We don't have a floating point modulus. So how do we account for wraparound? If it's greater than 180, we just subtract? Or is that even right? Because I think 300 is effectively 60. So if it's greater than 180, we subtract. We should invert it. Now, here's another interesting thing. See, the negative 300, negative 179, negative 300. So far, the really big ones have been negative. But that might be incidental. So what do we call you? I guess you are abs. No, it's not signed angle, though. The indenter is so confused right now. All right, Neo. What do you mean greater than or equal to? Nope, something is still really messed up. I guess the really weird thing is that it wasn't as messed up when, I guess one of the points went to nothing and the other arc went to, well, that was two arcs to center, so it's not actually following the arc line. Maybe what I do here is identify these as arcs, and I just change arc rendering. So for now we do that. And then we start doing some other things. Error? Okay, so it's one of our big outer arcs. Yeah, we're not even calculating the right points here. The relationships between points don't even seem to be right. It's like these are too close and these are too close and those are tighter. And like the fact that we have a cross here is going to be just too wide of an angle. Yeah, what the heck? All right, we need to be doing some multi-rendering here. I think we are going to want to draw each of these things a little bit differently. So we have end A, end B. End B is a point. It's probably just like a circle. I'm not sure what a good size here is. Oh, right, then we position it somewhere. What is that, like shift? Now there's going to be so many things going here, this might just be too much stuff. Argument is shape. Expects collage. So I have to trace it first? Or maybe circles don't get traced. Yeah, that's for paths. So that would be, I guess, filled. Line style, okay. So a filled would actually just be a uniform. List collage. Oh, we need to stack these. All right. I might need to turn off my icon to see if I can see the center point here. What are you? Text, image. Can I just not call this? And the duos actually aren't in the way, it's these guys. Where the heck is my centers? Oh. They're not appropriately transformed, which means we're forgetting to transform and putting things into the arc. Now, endpoints are still wrong. But this needs to go through... Well, no, not you. I don't really think this varies on a per item basis here. Now, if this is going to be an isolated function, it'd probably become like that. All right, it's not liking something here. Did I forget the operator? Yes, I did. Okay, that is looking a little bit better. Now, these still feel like they're just in the wrong spot. It might not, like, crash the drawing, though. So can we put this in as one of our bits here? Okay, it does not crash the drawing. Yeah, we kind of end up with stuff in right-ish places. Like, this one isn't bad. That looks like it's probably about where it needs to be. Well, I'd have to, actually, we can check that. No, that's not where it needs to be. That is not where that needs to be. Oh, I wonder if this is radians versus degrees. So we're just kind of spinning around in crazy loops here. I want to consider it an input issue or a rendering issue. I kind of want to consider it an input issue. I don't know if we want to call that a issue for DXF in general. Yep. Well, it's kind of our times of helpers, so we kind of want a radians is a decoder of a float. Actually, this is going in for angle. So this is actually going to be a little bit awkward. Oh, I didn't even make a type for this, did I? Wait. List code pair. Yeah, because there's all this stuff, but these things are just... Now, the error might be a bit of a local type here. So if that fills into the same spot, there might be some... Well, my map is a decoder mapper. I could probably run it on the thing, the result from the tag. Now, we want to call angle of V. And then do a result dot map of a degrees to so that's a degrees I defined tau in my other thing, but here we're only going to have all right, does that even type check? We might be able to do this as like angle, arrow, arrow, but it works. Well, but does it work? That looks much better. However, our angles do appear to be reversed. Okay, so geometry is actually my own little thing. Oh, did we wash out a plus minus difference? No, all of this still looks fine. Let's try and figure out how some of this stuff. Okay, so this is a different series trying to get out here. And I feel like this stuff is actually garbage. So I've been using this rotate elsewhere, right? Not using it in here. What do you know? We were doing negative angles. And that was probably just about how I wanted to do it. What do you know? We were doing negative angles. That's suspicious, huh? If every time you do it, you want to invert it? So I guess it's just counterclockwise versus clockwise rotation? Now I could do the negatives here. This does have me curious. Okay, got some layout issues. Okay, this is not the simple form we want. And we're probably running some matrix things too, and maybe I should be doing some matrix stuff. Yeah, and you see, this is this. Yeah, now you see, this is showing 30 degrees, which is this direction. Maybe because we're also doing some Y inversion, it's getting confused? How about you? Well, I'll have to find out what. 359, so this should really be 0. I just happened to place this down one. Oh, actually, we technically can't draw this correctly right now because it's a wide angle. I have to go through and split it. So I guess I don't need to worry about that one as much. Actually, are these... All right, so that's going to be messed up because it's an invalid angle. And this actually comes into some of our scaling issues, and that I just picked an arbitrary scaling value for this. So that's another thing we could look at. No. So boop, boop, boop. So that's right there. If that was... Well, if we just... Well, what if we just invert that angle? No, 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 no. That's in Boon chart. This is where we're actually doing the rotation. Just to see if that's the right issue. Okay, we did kind of move where the overlap of the blue one ended up. I put this in the right position, although I don't actually know why that's working with such a wide angle. Okay. So actually, no, that's not correct. Because now these things are wrong. Yeah, so the nearest intersection is on this side. I don't have a good way to look at the properties of these yet. All right, well, this could be legitimately messed up because it is a wide angle. Huh. So maybe those negative angles were just kind of... the way I wanted to turn it. Now this is where we have to look at something about the wide angle ones. All of these were fine. Do I need this anymore? I don't think I need this anymore. And as far as debugging stuff, we might need the angle calculation still. I don't know if an empty block is allowed. All right, so that's our lines. We can... Nope, wrong one. Boon chart. We got lots of comment out stuff, don't we? It should be our main function, this thing. So yes, there's some layout things I might have to clean up. I think this entire thing might need to move over here as a little bit more space. What are we going to do with you? technically it's slightly larger than 90 even when split. I don't know that we're going to have anything that's more than 180 degrees. So end A, end B, that's fine. Maybe you could always calculate the midpoint. And we just don't expect not to use it most of the time. Oh, then I have to care about the exact angle that's at. Okay, so and one of the reasons that might be... Okay, so technically this is below the line. And it is a start. That might have to do with how I drew it, actually. There's a draw order. I think that's just like visible layering. There's a sweep angle. So reversed, no. What does that look like in DXF? Now, do I have any sort of attribute to find this by? Not currently, no. I know what my angles are. So this, would these be properties of a circle or of an arc? So this might actually, yeah, that's just going to flip the display. But if we save and load, oh, that's a QCOD extended property. I guess basic CAD just is what it is. Okay. So if it's not reversed, what can we assume about that? Is it assuming a counterclockwise sweep? Now, I may have done this by truncating a circle. I don't think I actually discovered the arc tools at that point. Like realized, hey, there's an icon for that. And that should always be constructed in a counterclockwise fashion, which from 0 on, that makes sense. It's just this one happens to be at a little bit below the midpoint. So how do we calculate that so that it works with the wraparound? Maybe, do we just do standard midpoint and then watch for that to be out of whack? A standard midpoint would be 2 minus from, so this is like its own thing. All right, now. Now, since these are rotations around, sign actually does matter. I wouldn't expect a single iteration of this to get multiples of 360. Although actually does divide, I don't know if divide by 2 makes sense there. Well, in any case, no, actually it is sort of angle. Might just be odd angle though. Because in a normal midpoint thing, you'd take this and then you'd add it to from angle again. What is that going to be here? That's going to be, that's the end angle minus, is going to be like negative 180-ish. We're going to have negative 90-ish. And if we add that to our, what they call start angle, that is going to put us down here. Maybe I do need to abs that because we're always moving that direction. So we want it to be a positive angle. So that actually puts us back at odd angle. Well, odd angle divided by 2. And then we have to look at wraparound. And you're just some kind of intermediate value. Now we did tau, yes. And indenter doesn't seem to like working with these. Still doesn't like it. Now, that's all to get the angle. We actually need the point. Well, I guess we do our other things here. And then if our angle is greater than 90, I was probably putting 90s in here when I was testing this before. I don't know. I don't suppose I did a... Tau is pi. I don't know if I ever actually measured that. I just said, oh yeah, this one thing I'm doing is going to be greater than 90, so we're going to split it. Okay, well, even though this one of these is going to be maybe even both of them are slightly more than 90, that's currently working. We have some unfortunate collisions here. Now, I was starting to play around with this connection stuff. Well, we're going to do the connections, we're going to deal with rotations. Importing arcs is still a step. I might have to do something better with like splitting those a little bit farther down the chain. Or just say, okay, yeah, that's too big. Because the problem there is you have to take endpoints, turn them back into angles, and we have to store it as angles. All right, so Demeter is tweaked. The rest are really should maybe work. I know we've got Demeter. No, that's Demeter.xml. Now this is not DXF ellipses, which could actually force a lot of other changes. Maybe I want to get the others loaded up first to see how, like, Athena had an especially large icon, and figure out which of those we want to use as a size baseline. If I scale this up, then all this stuff, well, in this case, it would be here. It would get blocked out by this. That's partially incidental to exactly where the bits of the symbol go. But if that's the case, then all this stuff needs to move out. Or it's the case that we leave it this size. So I'm not just going to deal with that. When I deal with this stuff, I have to deal with rotation. And right now, I think we're just using the the collage rotation for the god names. All right, we have import arcs. So at some point we need to import ellipses. That's a little bit of a detail. I need dual-boon connections before I can draw dual-boon connections. I need prerequisite. Well, I haven't even proved out the ability to connect these little subnetworks. And dual-boon's going to depend on that. We have to, well, figure out scale. Which is going to kind of come into some of this stuff. We have to loading multiple gods. There's going to be prerequisite for that. We need to, I think for the duos we need to rotate gods. And we have to decide if we want to like rotate the points and like keep this stuff still. I mean, keep this still facing the user. Because one of the things I'm thinking about is that a version of this is you focus in and then rotate left and right. In which case maybe you would want it to keep on facing the center. Maybe these are always just rotated to face user, although then this will get weird as it rotates around. But I guess some of the connection stuff is going to be important to figure out. Which means I also need ability to select a boon. Then we have got all the dependency management. I might want to figure some of that stuff out. So do you have any, you've got events. You've got an on-click. And operates at a collage level. So this is mainly going to be the boon icons. Which, what do we use to draw that? We lay them out. Display boon trait. That's going to give us a collage. What do we have? We have drag mode. with the offset information. Okay, so we already have our zoom related events. These are going to be a little bit more specific. I guess that would be hover, if we want some of that. Unclick. And from their perspective, it's just a message, a collage, and a collage. Okay, so you're statically doing, it's this thing. What do we have? When we do this, we have a boon. A boon has a name, and we're using the ID there. Shift stack. I'm going to have to pass the handler information down, aren't I? So the thing we pass in is going to take mount space. We've got an alias for it though, and that's going to be it. And then we have to make that satisfied. And this has to handle the message. So we've got view, all our zoom stoof. Maybe I shouldn't be using on for these. Does it say, more like selected boon? And we can just get this to compile right now. All right, so view does not have trait ID. Where was that coming from? Okay, so you can get by. Boon chart has to get that all the way down there, however. So actually, you're at top level. It's not too bad. It's in a little map call, but it's a top level. We're getting to the point where I should just have this and dot things out, though. No, we need lowercase. It's kind of like your version of the model. So you are a handler that goes from a trait. Boon.name, boon.id, boon.icon. It's almost time just to send the entire boon. Now, I guess I could technically attach this outside of this function. But this has the boon we're working on. You are events. Is that how we did it? No, we're not doing anything with that yet, so I don't know if it got there. Okay, and it does work on some of this stuff. I'd have to do like a hover effect to be able to get a better sense of that they have the collisions working, but and we might have some weird things. Let's see, secondary. Yeah, so that's actually getting getting this one instead of that one. Well, okay. So I guess we would have the set of currently possessed traits. Which goes back to our application model, which will actually bleed into the boon chart model a lot. So what do we call these? Active traits, possessed traits? All right, so drag mode. This is like data. I guess this is getting kind of into state, but it's like kind of view state. Active boons, active traits. We have not imported set. Okay. Well, I guess I have to be able to modify the set before it's useful to thread it through. Although in this case, there's no set.toggle, is there? Actually, there was just a thread on one of the message boards about that. Well, inserting is enough for initial testing. Well, yeah, we could do this and then do this. And we know this is going to get more complicated later when we actually have to test for membership and stuff. Now, that has to get all the way down to the boon chart. So traits layout, kind of view. All right, our boon chart. Is a set of trait ID. Do we have set here? It looks like we don't. All right, so this, I guess, has to go down to, well, it's going to end up a lot of places. It's going to affect how we display individual boons. And yeah, this is getting too unwieldy, I guess. Let's see. We are compiling right now. So attributes, this is basically our model. Now this could conceivably be split into like configuration and state, so to speak. But if I'm not actually keeping that, well, if I did have a type for it, then I could have that as like a sub-object in my main model. Maybe there wouldn't be as much duplication of between those two. Okay, most of these should all be one-offs. That's probably going to get used once. Probably. That is not necessarily going to get used once. All right, we were trying to add active traits, which is going to have to get passed down to these again. I guess that's more like this kind of state we're passing into here. All right, signature is satisfied. So figuring out how to make a glow effect on this is going to be its own little challenge. What are we doing? We're doing color.white. I guess I could also have to do like a size difference. No, actually, this is color white image. Yeah, but what to do with the image is going to be an interesting challenge. Equals set.member. Right, doesn't like that indentation. Now you're actually using a different color package. It was AV4H. No, it doesn't need an end. This needs an in. Set trait ID, but member needs the first argument to be comparable. Oh, nope. The set is the other argument. That way you can pipeline it. And you? Yeah, I can't click on that one. Now, a more distinct color would also help. I just didn't want to make these too hard to read. Wonder, are you blocked out by the lines? Does that be interpreted as a drag? So it's a highlight issue? Is this a event, or is this a actual selection issue? I guess I could also use the debugger for this. Okay, this is some sort of click layering. Get all the way over there. Now, we obviously have these where they're visually displayed in this order. I wonder, can we actually use this? Oh. So for whatever reason, that spot's good. We can see that in, well, and suddenly it's fine. I mean, I guess the demeter will eventually be gone. I could probably do some things with like CSS no interact classes. Or pointer events none, maybe. Of course, we need to be able to do this anywhere. We do have our big backdrop specifically for that. All right, what can we do? Okay, so that's very, very high level. What can we do in image? We can display it. Ooh. Yeah, things like transparent and fill are for the actual SVG stuff. In game, there's no real distinguishment between things. You get the frames. But with this, I might have to do like an overlay. Well, that's not super important right now. It's just a display issue. We can also go ahead and do toggling. So we either have if it's currently a member, actually this is the else now. No end. That's still a problem. Oh, I guess we're just on the corner of the graphic here. And now you see this was working once we pulled out this thing. Yeah, I don't know if I ever need to click on the polylines. Do I have... I do have some top level styles I pulled into here. So those are for the icons. Yeah, this is something I want to apply to like every line, and that could get expensive on a per element attribute thing. Oop. So at the SVG level, you see this is a text, so those I might have to do. These are polylines. That's for these icons. That might take out some of the problems. Oh, I'm actually not even getting selection events now. Now I'm wondering if I should have to take these out and like do custom collision boxes for them. And now it's fine. Maybe it kind of gloms onto the first thing it gets. Yeah, so these should be like complete background. Unless we're like at this level and you want to click on one of those, but that might have to be handled as just different levels of detection code-wise. So Collage knows that it has no event handler hooked in. It's just not putting the ignore me things on it. Do you have list attribute? HTML has it. I don't know if I can add little attributes at an individual item level. Or like classes or anything. It says unnamed. Well, I'm not really seeing a way to name it. Yeah, I'm not exactly caring about style. And at this point, it's like, a few more weeks, I'll be fully vaccinated. Can probably I should get a proper cut again. I just have to put up with it till then. Yeah, so I don't know why it's got unnamed on there. Maybe there's a... They was thinking about a facility and never actually built it. Naming. In order to locate it after composition. Connect a list of points. ID equals unnamed. Well, that would give it an ID. We have to give them unique IDs, though. Or we just end up having to do a full canvas, but that's a leap. So those are IDs, which means I'd then have to come through here and tag them all separately. Oh, the other thing was if there's a certain path. So this is a GGG text. Lots and lots of G's. So that would change. Anytime our structure changed, well, yeah, that's all in Demeter. So that stuff's all going to be in Demeter 2. Yeah, we got the corner of that. And now we're having trouble with you again. Weren't we working on... Yeah, we're working on toggle, so we're just having detection problems with this. Okay, I guess that is kind of unusable. Don't know why it's this one. And then if we exchange that text with something else, it'll be a different object, kind of in that same layering position. Shame it's not using visual layering, because obviously these things are on top of the lines and whatnot. All right, so quickest fix. Where are we putting the names? Okay, I'm not doing upgrade adjustments here. Display gods. This is display god. So we have text, we have the circle. And technically none of those things we want. So we're kind of like layering other stuff on top of that instead of actually making it part of it. Excuse me? Maybe have I not imported? Maybe I left layout as collage layout. I have my own layout module. Oh, I guess we do need this. Right, because this is actually the enumerated thing. All right, you're an unnamed, but you're in the group Demeter. So this is starting to be an indicator that we need to do something else. Actually, you are a ID. Oh. Something about when we're zoomed in. Now you're having problems too. Oh. It's my background rec for some reason. Now I guess in a pinch I could get coordinates for everything and do my own hit detection. It really stinks that, well, I guess that, now you see if that rec is map pointer events, then I might have a problem. Now I don't need a lot of recs. but that might affect my ability to zoom. Well, okay, still getting those events. Ah, it affects my ability to drag, though. Yeah, it's got layering issues. Now, you see, this is a path. Oh, it's a path. So we had both path and polyline? Maybe all lines are polylines. Wrecked. You think if I had the god list, yes. So this actually doesn't help a lot. It works most of the time. I don't know why you're such a problem. Well, that's frustrating. Now, I don't know if I can actually do any prerequisite stuff here. Now, Well, the actually selected ones is still a thing. From that, you should be able to calculate all of the available ones. Where did I do that? It was one from each set. So that can be completely determined from the active, but I wouldn't want to... Well, we're only gonna, for the most part, we're only going to do each of these once. So if every time we drew it, as you drew that one, you could go through and calculate its status, that might not be too bad. Boon type from requirements. So that actually gets that stuff. This is all our type stuff. Right, this is figuring out which ones are duos. Basic boons, duo boons, is basic boon, it's duo boon. So we would want, well, we would need like, we have traits as a list of God data. Ooh, that means we need to get all the traits down there. So we would have, this boon would have our active boons, or active traits. We'd have all of the God data, and once again, navigating this still import-oriented structure might be awkward. We have all of our traits. We have set of trait ID for the actives, and we have, we should really only need the trait ID. So for all traits, here's our function. So if it's not active, we could have this return like active, available, unavailable. Just kind of, or just say, is it active, else is it available? What do we need? Oh, actually, some of the God starter traits are going to be like always available technically. So that's data.traits. Data.traits are the ones that don't have upgrades. So if it's a member of that, then it is just available. I actually called this gods up there. Data.traits, data linked upgrades. Did I actually do this? God data, traits. Okay, they're all traits. And some of them have requirements. So we can actually just look at the entire list and look at whether it has requirements. So actually, this part is just find boon. Which, do we technically have a boon at this time? And does a boon include its requirements? It's still trait here, isn't it? Okay, so do we do anything else? Boon type from requirement. So we've got a switch for it. So if there are none, oh, and the ultimate return type of this, I guess, is just bool at this point. Then it's available. If it's a one of set, then we want to see if there is an intersection of that. And what can we say about a set? Query is empty. So this is and then this is a list. Oh, are you super generic? This looks like it's specific to our boon type process. And you're mapping to the gods. That's different. What do we need to be able to say about this? We have to intersect every single one of those. Determine if they were all true. Can we do that? And then, let's see, so that's a list. I don't think we have a default. If all elements of a list satisfy some test. Now, another way to do this would be to say, is any empty? No, but that you then need to invert the result. Of course, we copied it. Right. Intersect. Intersect. Okay. But now our individual boon display needs the entire trait list. So we've got if it is in there, it's active. Else if it's traits. Is available. Traits. Oh, I kind of did want that first, didn't I? Yeah, so we could almost do like a helper function there because they're both doing the same thing with in terms of all these many arguments. All right, so we've got dark gray, charcoal, oh, and we have to expose it. Oh, those are different boons. We do have to find it. So boon chart must have its own boon type. Yes, this is all display stuff. We have a find boon, but that's a maybe. Which does all that ugly stuff. Now, this makes me wonder if I'm perhaps transforming the full boons into the graphical boons, and perhaps we should be keeping the requirements around then in order to simplify this step. We map this. Actually, we can do this. We can cheese this. Right, we changed that because we're using the other form. We're looking at using the other form. And we're still passing this in the chart. Okay, so we expect... Okay. And that made this available. And when two of those with this becomes available. Oop. Click targets. And I mean, technically this probably works with the others as well. Oh, that was not the one we wanted to click. It's just you can't really follow anything because there's no connections. Now this is vortex, so we actually have to have like something like this, and I think that actually did light that up. That's where the icons themselves need some feedback as well. And I'm not sure Collage is going to do that for me. All right, so that is the boons themselves. Oh, you did select a boon. And then associating this with boons leads to lighting them up. Actually, I don't think I committed since we did highlighting, did we? Yep. And we probably need something more than shaded gray because it's... I wouldn't call it super clear right now. All right, so we still have to prove out associating these things with this stuff. And actually, I think that I might need to rethink how I'm doing this because these are actually, most of the times when I'm doing lines, it's anything in the group will activate the group. But these technically are going to be a join here. Actually, how did the... I know the underlying implementation of this is something like... Well, it's like one from each set, but it's all the pairs. How'd that work? And it's not going to... Well, I've got the name here. It is going to be here. One from each set. From each set, yes. So when we have, yeah, so like this would potentially get you here and here, but until we have the other one, then that wouldn't do that. Or rather, it's one from all. Yeah. I might have to do some custom coding to make that work out. It's kind of so if when you have the join of any of these two, which is effectively doing the two of, rather than this sort of underlying thing, which is any one of these would light up two of these, and you need all three. Which would be a different presentation, probably. And I'm not sure that's going to map to this type of coding. It's not, I'm going to have to map the will that even map to here? That would map to one of these. I could do that for visual purposes, map to one of these, and as soon as one of these has both items, then it activates that. Oh, another thing I could do. At least temporarily. I don't know what kind of ends up repeating some stuff. Image is an arbitrary size. Although I could also be doing this entire thing, but that's being scaled outside of here. Now, it's being scaled the same in both cases. No, it's not, it is being scaled differently. And this is where we should actually almost have a type here, because the trace is available as an expensive thing. If it is active, we don't even have to do the calculation. And I guess I could do change to search for then. That probably is an overly generic size. Huh, that was not as big a difference as I expected. I almost want to say, like, something like that. Yeah, that'd be a little bit too small. Gets the point across, though. We've got more click issues. All the click issues. Of course, I guess that also makes the click target smaller for the icons. I almost want to do something like... Might be too much. Yeah, just a little bit more differentiation there. You know, okay, in retrospect, I don't want to be playing with this while I'm doing layout stuff. Because the visible size of the icons is going to affect that a lot. All right, so next step is try to get the edges to follow from the icons themselves. But it is well into lunchtime. So this will most likely get worked on Monday morning. Maybe some other times if I can actually get some sleep this week. I see somebody working on some Godot. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for the new sub from Delbagor and support from all of the subs. If you're looking for someplace cool to hang out now, and I need to actually get this started. Took and Wig, looks like they've got a duo stream going. They're doing some Godot. And if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. A good night, and until next time. Oh, actually, no, it's good. It's good day, good afternoon. Too many habits.